We are joined by an AI expert, the founder of Systems in Motion. He's a keynote speaker on the topic of AI. It's a pleasure to speak with Stéphane Monsallier. Hello, Stéphane. Thank you very much for joining this episode. It's a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you for having me, Tina.
I would like to start with a question I often come across online. What are the risks of AI for humanity and society?
The risk for humanity is to misuse AI. So, of course, you have a lot of bad actors out there that want to use AI for bad reasons. And because AI is making everything more efficient, it's also making bad people more efficient at everything they are doing. So that means that the good people, like you and me, we have to embrace AI as fast or even faster than the bad actors. You know, for me, this is the biggest risk. There's this idea that AI will take over the world, that AI will develop its own ability to think, will become sentient.
Yes.
I don't believe in this, because I got my master's degree in artificial intelligence in 1993.
Oh, wow.
And even going back to the 1950s, people have predicting this sentient AI for the next 10 years. So for the last 17 years, they've been predicting it for the next 10 years, and it never happened. Yeah. So for me, it's not a risk. Yeah.
Thank you. But what if everything speeds up, right? So what kind of skills do you see will be needed in the future in the era of AI?
So in the area of AI, it's how to communicate with AI, you know, because AI looks and sounds or writes text that looks human, because AI has learned our languages. So any AI, any text model can type French, English, Chinese, Russian, any most common languages. But this is an illusion, because this is still a machine. And the way to communicate with a machine is not the same as communicating with humans. So the first skill that is most important is how do you communicate with a machine? We call it the art of prompt. So at System in Motion, we do a lot of training. We train a lot of corporate employees. So how do you give orders to the machine? Because at the end of the day, AI is just another tool. It's just another technology. And technology has to be here to help us, the humans. That's why we invent technology in the first place. So how to get the best results. And this is what we've devoted most of our time in the last 15 years, is to train as many people as possible. And the second skill that is not related to AI, but it's extremely important when you work with AI, is critical thinking. AI has the ability to write things that are really, really well crafted, really well written, and totally wrong. It's called hallucination. So you have to be able to look at what the AI is producing and have your own opinion. Is this correct? Does it look weird? Is it absolutely what you're looking for or not? That's why critical thinking is even more important than in our, I would say, the pre-AI era.
Thank you. It's interesting. We were speaking about this before you came, and also this skill, let's say, it was on the list of the skills that we were discussing, that it can't be replaced. Hopefully it will not. From a business perspective, what key factors should executives consider before adopting an AI? And are there any hidden risks?
Of course there are. There are a lot of risks. In a lot of companies, employees are using their own cell phone and they're using free AI. There are a lot of free AIs out there on the market. Every time an employee uses a free AI, there is a risk that confidential company information leaks out of the company onto these servers. And if that free AI happens to be outside of China, because we're sitting in Shanghai here, then this confidential information not only leaves the company, but leaves the country. And if it contains personal information, that's a violation of the data protection law. So there are a lot of risks associated with that. And then when the data is up there on the cloud in that AI company, this AI company can use this data to train the next version of their model.
Yes.
So there are a lot of risks, and there's a famous case that is almost a year old with Samsung, where one of Samsung's employees uploaded some source code into OpenAI, and then people were able to find the source code in the next version of OpenAI. It was kind of the early case. So this is why we explain to companies that if they want AI, they have to bring AI inside the organization. So wherever your confidential data is, your AI should be sitting right beside it, which usually means a private cloud. For companies that are extremely secure, maybe it's on premise, meaning inside the building. That's more for banks and pharmaceutical industry. So the risks are real. Even if the chance is low, companies need to make sure they put the proper infrastructure in place. So big companies more and more are invested into it, but they also need to train their people, and there's a awareness program to deploy inside the company to make sure that they don't use their own phone and they don't leak out information. So the infrastructure is not enough. Well, every employee needs to use the internal infrastructure and the internal AI with the internal company data. Once you've done both, it becomes extremely powerful. Because now you have an AI that has access to all the knowledge of the company, have to access to the most valuable and most confidential information, and now you can really improve the productivity.
Yes, especially for manufacturing and logistics, I think the question of security is very important.
So logistic, manufacturing, pharmaceutical industry, all the healthcare industry, banks, every company has their own proprietary asset. It doesn't matter if it's a trade secret, if their own IP, their customer list, their supplier list, their price list, their own formula. There's always secret information everywhere in every company.
So the company has to make sure that everything stays within, and they have full control over these processes.
They need to understand the problem. So this is why it's also part of our training to teach them exactly with a very simple diagram that everybody can understand. And this is why also whenever we go into a company for AI training, we always give the same advice. Train the executives first.
Yes, that's why we are here for.
Exactly.
We would love to learn more on how leaders can first understand it themselves, and second, be able to channel and convey to the team.
Yeah. So we have a very special way of getting the executive to understand. We get them to use it. So our training is not like about strategy, about like the next 10 years or fundamentals of AI or what it works. We say, okay, Mr. Executive, Mrs. Executive, sit here and you're going to use AI right now and you're going to use it on one of your tasks. And because executive have usually a majority of strategic tasks, this is a training that we specially designed for executive, which is all about strategy and how AI and the very common AI, so the OpenAI, Kimi, DeepSeek, the one that are available today, not the one that are coming in 10 years, how that can help an executive with strategic decision making. And as part of that training, we have a very funny challenge. We give them 20 minutes to design a new business plan. How are you going to integrate generative AI? You have 20 minutes. Go do it now.
Wow. So they need to find the problem that they want to address.
We actually help them because we give them the prompts. So we give them prompts, generic prompts that have been prepared as a prompt chain. And because they know their own business, it becomes really a synchronous discussion with the AI, where the AI is doing most of the formatting, a lot of the brainstorming, and then they have to think strategically. And every 20 seconds, they have to make a decision, 20 seconds, with the time of reading it. And when the 20 minutes are gone, they have a complete business canvas that is ready for them to present. It's usually a very high energy discussion because they are kind of calling out on each other. It's like, oh, I told you that subscription model is the way to go. Look, AI told me the same thing. Like, oh, we had that discussion last week. And they're super high energy, extremely excited. And at the end, that completely changes the view they have on AI, especially if they're not using it. And they just read the Wall Street Journal or any financial journal will not give them an accurate view of what it is. So moving from I've heard about AI versus I've used AI for 2 hours, that makes a huge difference. After that, they have everything they need to design their own strategy. Because their own strategy has to be done by them, because we don't know their business as much as they do. So we have to empower them. And this is why our objective, our mission is to empower knowledge workers.
So, for example, we as a third-party quality control, we are linked with many industries like manufacturing, logistics, sourcing. Let's create an example. How we can use AI to solve the real problem that might arise already now in one of these
Sure.
channels?
So you have a set of use cases that are common to every organization, right? So you have an HR department, you have a finance department, you have emails from customers, from supplier, you receive requests for quotation from your customer.
Yes.
So all these things, there are a common set of use cases that are really simple, that everybody can share. So how do I analyze an email, design a different option, a strategy to answer if it's a difficult email, and then design a very nice, sharp and short email. This one everybody can do today. These are actually part of our fundamentals training, and it's this one you can save 20 minutes here, 10 minutes there. But the ROI will not be extremely important there in all these one. At the end of the day, maybe you save an hour, but you're still going to work one more hour. Everybody in the office will still work more or less the same amount of money. So these ones are nice. They tend to increase the quality, especially in cross-cultural communication. Some employees probably here don't have English as their first language. So you will see the quality of the output raise. There's a bit more analysis. So these are very, very good use cases. And just with simple training, you can already get those benefits. After that, we get into things that are more strategic. So what is your core competency? What is the thing that makes you who you are? And what is the core process that is executed maybe 20, 40, 50 times in the company every month? And how can you work on this one? Because when we go to discuss with companies, like what is the process you want to speed up? Some people say budget. Like, yes, it's very complicated, nobody likes it, but you do it only once per year.
Yeah.
So budget is not a good one. So we're looking for things that are done 40, 50 times per month. So these are good candidates for ROI. Now you may have 5 or 6. Like, which one requires to process a lot of what we call unstructured data? So which one requires you to read 10, 20, 50 documents to summarize, compare, analyze? This is where the AI can really help. Then in this one, today there's no better solution than to test it. So we take those documents, we put an AI, we give all the documents to the AI to understand, summarize, and then we give it an order. So prepare a proposal, or summarize, or compare and give me an analysis, or find a discrepancy, or improve. Very specific orders we give to the AI. Without any training, without any special development, if we can get 50% of that done, just in a few hours of prompting those documents, we say, okay, there's a good candidate because you do it often, so there's going to be a good return on investment. And then we were able to do 50% in a few hours. So if we spend a month on this project, you're probably going to get a very, very good AI assistant that will speed up that critical part of your business. So this is what we call the AI accelerator. It's one of our products that we deliver to SMEs. And it's tailored to be done in 1 month. Because an AI project cannot be longer than 1 month, because in 1 month the technology has moved already. We work in an industry where you have new models all the time, so we sped up all of that, so that it has to be way shorter than a traditional digitalization process. So we say a proof of concept must be 2 days, and a full project must be 1 month, and you need to get ROI after 1 month.
And then you evaluate the result of this 1 month and maybe edit a little bit.
We don't. The experts need to do it. So we're expert in AI, so we're expert in nothing. So if it's about supply chain, it's about quality control. That has to be done with your experts inside your company.
Yes.
And the great thing is, like, because everything is done through prompts, they understand everything. So it's not like a traditional digital projects where everything is code and everything is done by developers, and it's like that black box. No, everything is open. So they can really look at this prompt. If we make this change, it has this effect. And everything being done in English or in Chinese, they can really be part of the project. And after a while, they can even do it themselves, and they can take full ownership of their AI. So it becomes their AI. And this is extremely important for adoption. In the past, any digitalization process or AI projects, very often company will come with an AI and say, this AI is better than you. You're 75% accurate. The AI is 92% accurate.
Oh, no.
So out, and the AI is there. And you're going to use the AI because the AI is better than you. So there was always that opposition. This is not the approach we're taking. We say, here's an AI that is going to help you.
Exactly.
And you have full control of the output of the AI. And when we do that, the user, they want more. So as you said, after 1 month, they're like, great, then what's next? What's the next use case? They start looking around for like, can we do this? They say, yes, and actually you can do it by yourself. You can make those improvements, and little by little, they become what we call AI champions. This is why whenever we do AI with even with SME and also with large companies, it's extremely important to choose the people very well. The first people you bring in, they tend to be young, open to technology, willing to try and kind of break things, a more entrepreneurial spirit, not afraid of AI. So they probably use it already in their personal life. The employees who are parents, they usually use it for homework to help them with their kids' homework. Because, for example, I'm really bad at chemistry. So I wish when my son was taking chemistry, I wish those AI existed at that time. Then I would have been able to help him by show him how to use AI to do a bit more research, comparison. So these people who use AI for homework, they would be really, really good candidates to become AI champion inside companies.
Yes, so I think you just described me as a young and curious person already using AI in my personal life.
Yes.
And also the machine learning course that I just did. It's for me to understand how it can be useful, how it can help me. So I'm not thinking that it will replace my job or I will not be able to show my progress. I think, wow, this tool, if I know how to use it, can speed up the processes, scale, and bring me more accuracy, leaving the room for creativity.
Yeah,
right?
It's a new tool in a toolbox of all the tools that you already have available at your disposal. And you're right that you need to learn this new tool. It's even worse than that because this new tool didn't come with a manual. So when GPT 3.5 came out like 15 months ago, people like us had to try and figure out how can we use it. And there was a long discovery path. And especially where I'm really happy with the job we did is like everything we designed in GPT 3.5. And then when GPT 4 came out, we're like, everything we've been teaching people, is it still applicable? And I was very happy to discover that yes, this is still applicable. And then DeepSeek came out. And we're like, same question, is it still applicable with the new generation? And then the reasoning model came out and we're like, yes, this is still applicable, but there is more. And we need to go deeper into what we call the second generation of AI, the reasoning model, so DeepSeek R1 and GPT O1 and O3. And now we're looking at the third generation of AI, the AI agents. So Manas was released, I think, a few weeks ago at the time of this recording. And now it's so it's like the same skill, same basic skill, plus the one from second generation. And now we need to develop new skills for the third generation. But the result or the payback of this one is now those AI agents, they can work for 15, 20 minutes without any supervision, and they can save you hours of work at a time. So for repetitive tasks, they're even better and better and better. So we continue to see those improvements, and we continue to getting new toys, new tools actually, being there very regularly, and those skills build on top of each other. Now the people who are really in danger is the one who didn't get the first layer of skills, because now they have to go all the way up, and there's no shortcuts. They have to go step by step to really understand and master those skills.
Could you please share some examples of these skills that were on layer one, so the basic ones? So what are they?
So the skills that we go out and the one that we do as part of our 101 training, which we call the AI fundamentals, is how to craft a prompt that gives you exactly what you want in one prompt.
Yes.
So you don't need to ask and then ask and ask and ask again into that discussion. You know, we want this to be efficient. So the first skill is how do you craft that prompt? So you craft that prompt by giving the AI a role. So who is the AI supposed to impersonate?
Right, yes.
Are you a marketing expert? Are you a supply chain expert? So who's the AI supposed to impersonate in terms of vocabulary, authority, etc. The second one, which is extremely important, is what we call the context. What is all the information you need to give the AI to execute that task? Sometimes the context can be a full document that you copy and paste, or a document that you upload, if you can upload into that AI. And then what is your objective? The best context are the contexts that answer the why question. Why do you need this? If you answer a why question, the quality of the output increases 2 or 3-fold. Why are you doing it? All of this we put under the umbrella of context. The third part is what we call format. If you need an email, ask for an email. But do you need a 2,000 word email or a 500 words email? So is it an email? Is it 5 bullet points? Is it a document? Is it an outline? Is it a PPT? Is it what it is? So describe that format so you can review, copy and paste, almost ready to be used. And finally, the fourth one is the command. Command has to be very, very direct. You have, again, you're giving orders to a machine, so you have to give a specific order of what the machine needs to execute. And sometimes you can have 3 or 4 commands, especially on reasoning model, you can give them a little bit more complex commands that can go through different steps. And then we go into more advanced techniques, which are called chain of thought, tree of thought. They are more advanced layer after that. So we call that the RCFC framework. This is what we are teaching. It's role, context, format, and command, RCFC. And then we have a fifth one, the E. Sometimes it's easier to give an example of what you want than to describe it. So for example, you want to fill in a job description and your company already have a job description template. You can give the template. On marketing, you have your top 5 performing blog posts or social media posts. Then maybe you don't know why. Maybe you don't know what these 5 are better than the bottom 5, right? You just take these 5, you give it to the AI and say, copy these or get inspiration from these 5 top performing ones. And the AI will be able to reproduce the pattern, understand how they're written, how long they are, what type of vocabulary, and understand the inner structure of this blog and give you a new blog post on a different topic, as long, again, as you give the ideas and all the information. So that's why we call it the E, for example, and then RCFC framework. So this is what we teach in our first course. And after that, so tree of thought, chain of thought, met prompt chaining, variables. So these are a way to make your prompts more powerful and also more abstract, and to share them with your colleagues and be able to use them in more and more situations, which gets you exactly at the right point where you can start to think about automation after that. And again, if you do it well and you've chosen the right champions and they go through all these steps, they will be the one asking for automation. They will be the one to ask for somebody coming from the IT department or hiring a software company to go and automate what they already know is working in that semi-manual work.
I really like how challenging it is. And then while you're learning new things, these new ideas can come in, how else you can develop or where exactly you can go using this as a tool, right?
I think it comes rather naturally, because your first prompt gives you an idea for the second one, which gives you an idea for the third one. And we have this idea that we are starting to develop of community. So all these champions, you have to connect them inside the organization, but you also have to connect them outside of the organization. So everybody who came to our training, we group these people into a community where they can ask questions, where we continue to send new ideas, new tips. We also have our newsletter, because we know we need to feed these people new ideas. And this is how, from one idea that you heard from somebody like, oh, I don't need this, but actually I can apply it to my own problems. Because right now, nobody has seen the limit of this new AI technology. Right now, the sky is really the limit, and the new technologies and new generation of AI are coming faster. We have not even used fully the first generation, the third is already here. And we keep finding new use cases. At the beginning, when we started the newsletter, I thought, are we really being able to have new ideas every week? Actually, it's the other way around. Like, we have too many things. Every time my email marketing complains, my email marketing platform complains that the email is too long, so I have to cut things out. So we have the opposite problem. There are so many things we can do, and so many ideas are coming from the members of our community.
I like it. I like it how many things can be done, and can be done in a new way that we don't know yet. It was very interesting that you mentioned how we can use this tool, for example, with analyzing the emails, but how AI can be implemented and help with forecasting and just-in-time production.
So as I told you when I mentioned email, I said these are like the common use cases
Yes,
that are
yes.
applicable in every
Yes.
company. And I told you every company needs to go deeper into their core business. So just in time for a manufacturer will be how deep they can go, starting from where they are and what are the challenges that they're facing. Yeah. So then it can be used in many, many different ways. And again, the sky is the limit, and
Yes.
these manufacturing company can invent new ways of doing it that I will not think about. Yeah. So they can do analysis on past data quite easily, and especially the third generation of AI. So the AI agents, they have data analytics capabilities. So even if you're not a data analyst, and I have one example that I shared, one use case that I share on my YouTube channel, where I just take sales data from the internet, from a data set that is available on a data science sharing site. I give that to the agent, and I give it very simple instruction. Take this data, remove the last 3 months, build a predictive model, run it, compare the predictive results with the actual sales, and make a report. And then I go make myself a coffee, and 15 minutes later, I have a very, very good, I would say, extremely talented junior data scientist work. All done. So all this knowledge of this data science is there, and it has been captured by this third generation AI, and they have the autonomy to run these models and even give suggestion into how to get deeper. You know. This is the wonderful tool for actually professional data scientists to save a lot of time. So all the predictive analytics with that third generation, with the AI agents, that's done. Now after that, you may have issues. So the data science will tell you, okay, you have an issue at that part, and the bottleneck is at that part. Now you have to go into brainstorming. So brainstorming, in brainstorming and creativity, we give the same advice. We say, quantity will lead to quality. So if you have two ideas, you may have two ideas like how can we limit that bottleneck? Maybe professional people in that factory who know the factory very well, they have two ideas. Or maybe they have one idea, because usually humans may have only one idea. Now, again, you build the context, you get that report, you give maybe a bit of background, you give it to the AI, and you ask the AI, give me 20 possible results. Maybe 10 will not make sense. 3 will be interesting, including the 2 that they had already. And in the remaining one, maybe there's one that is extremely interesting that nobody had thought about. Yeah. And this is how the quantity will lead to quality, because the average quality is lower than humans, but you can, in 20 seconds, you can have 20 ideas. Yes. Where the humans will stick, especially experts, they will stick to their own idea, and they will not, very, very difficult for them to come out with a second one, a third one, a fourth one. But the AI has this ability to kind of mash up ideas from left and right and put things together that don't make sense. But one of them maybe is a brilliant one that you would not have otherwise. So that would be to maybe identify the bottleneck. And same thing for resolution. Same thing for resolution. You may want to ask for 3 or 5 different action plans, and this action plan and this one, actually, my recommendation would be to go with reasoning model, with second generation that tends to be better quality on complex problems and analysis. So this one will have to pull out maybe a more engineering background, and then you can ask for 4, and how can they select it, and what would be the process to select the best solution out of 5. And then you go back to the beginning, and you can cycle through the just in time. But again, I'm not an expert of manufacturing. Yeah. This is just the way I would see AI empowering the middle of every single one, and then a human decision between each of them. So this is very, very important. There needs to be, in every AI power process, there needs to be a human at the start and a human at the finish. So when you have those multi-steps that I've described it, every single one will end up with a human making a decision. Making a selection, filtering, or ignoring some information and saying this one is interesting. That goes back to the expert.
I really like that we're speaking about practical use cases of AI, how it can be implemented.
We all know that feeling when everything just clicks. But why does it happen? What's happening behind the scenes to make the world work? When you slide into your soft, warm clothes, who checks they're made with the best materials? Or when you take that first bite, do you see the tests that made it safe to eat? Maybe you don't, but we do. We notice these things so you don't have to. Who are we? We're HQTS, the premier quality assurance provider to industries worldwide. Behind every smooth delivery, every on-time product, we're there. Serving over 50,000 brands for over 30 years in over 40 countries with more than 80 offices worldwide, we stitch the world's supply chain together. Problems are everywhere. That's why you need a single solution. We test your products, dig into your supplier, audit your factories, and keep you on track with compliance. Driven by data-backed solutions, we catch risks early to protect your products and your reputation, because sometimes it's the smallest details that make the biggest difference. The right chemicals in your products, the right words on your documentation, the right people in your factories. It's keeping your products in check as they travel across all 5 continents and fueling the world's transition towards a greener, more sustainable future. We're across your entire supply chain and every major industry. With top accreditations like CNAS, we work with governments everywhere to set the bar for global quality. Through the latest tech and digital tools, we're closing the gap with our customers, focusing on the details that matter so we can continue to support thousands of businesses around the world. HQTS, stitching the global supply chain together.
I watched your recent videos on LinkedIn where you mentioned that companies slow down in adoption of AI because they mainly focus on a negative aspect. We don't want to fall into that trap, but I still have to ask, what jobs do you foresee AI might be replacing?
I don't think AI will replace jobs. Statistically, overall, if you gain 30% productivity and it's a team of 10, yes, maybe you still have 7, right? You go down to 7. But you will still need humans. You will still need humans because, number one, you want humans to make decisions. So at the end, as I just said, you have a human at the start and a human at the finish, and you want the human to make the final decision. You also need a human at the start because you need humans to have ideas, to have insight, to have a purpose, and to be aligned with the company culture and what we're trying to achieve, and understand what needs to be done next. What is the next step? You know? So that's why you need human at the start and human at the finish. But most importantly, you need humans to be accountable. The AI cannot be accountable for anything. So you have to keep that responsibility. And finally, you need in every organization, a job is more than a list of tasks. A job is people who work together, people who have a relationship, who know each other, who trust each other, and decide to collaborate and decide to help each other. And that will be extremely, extremely difficult to reproduce with AI. And I don't think, we don't need it actually.
Yes. Yeah.
We don't need it because we have humans and we all want ourselves to have something to do, to have a purpose, and continue to be engaged with other humans. Yeah. So that's why the AI is not going to replace job. The AI is going to accelerate task. But a job is task with purpose, with colleagues, with humanity, and with this relationship. And the AI is only there for task. Even if it's longer task, even if it's more autonomous, still concentrating on the task, on input-output.
Yes, it's very exciting for me. And also I like to see the positive way how you see and how it's perceived, because I also feel that it's so beautiful that we can get together, that human can get such an immersive help of AI.
The positive aspect, I don't want to sound like I'm over-enthusiastic about AI and everything is great. I mean, there are things, there are risks. We talked about it at the very beginning. So it's more a decision. It's a decision to, to, to bring AI into organization in a positive way, and in a way that is consistent with the company value,
Yes.
and in a way that make humanity better at the end. So it's a conscious decision that I made, and it's the awareness that I want to spread, and it's the way that to do it. And then after that, once you said that, because it's nice and it aligns with the United Nations view of AI for humanity, this is great. But the next question is, how do we do it?
Yes.
So we have to answer the how. Well, once we answer the why, we all understand why we want to keep humanity alive, right? But then it's the how. And this is the one that is a bit more difficult. And this is where company and executive have a very important role to play.
Yes.
I think it was 10 months ago, almost a year ago, there was a strike in Hollywood. The Writers Association, the Writer Guilds Association, they went on strike. And all the newspapers said, oh, they're going on strike against AI because they know that AI is going to be able to write scripts. And at that time, I like, no. They're not going on strike against AI. They're going on strike against the industry because they know that the movie industry is going to want to replace them with AI, even if the quality is not there, even if it brings substandard TV series and movies. So they're not going on strike to influence. The AI doesn't care about you going on strike.
Yeah.
But then they got what they wanted. But that was a fight with the industry and with executives that may be looking too much into their profit than into the quality of the creativity of TV series and movies. But all the media was like strike against AI, which was a complete misunderstanding.
So it's more like people were against people with AI.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. But no, I mean, the employees or more the freelancers were against an industry which has traditionally trying to cut corner every way they could, you know. And I recently heard on a podcast somebody said like they go on strike every 3 years. That's how they protect themselves. So AI was just the latest one.
A reason.
And 2 years later, it's going to be something else. Right?
Okay, so that's how they entertain themselves.
That's how they protect their rights, and that's the tool that they found there. But there was nothing about AI actually. I mean, he was in this era where AI is available, but it's just the way they reacted. And before that, I don't know, maybe it was digital, or before that it was Zoom or something else. Yeah.
So what about then industries that might arise from evolution of AI? Have you thought of that?
That's a great question. I don't think it's an industry by itself, but it's just a tech industry. It's just Silicon Valley. It was the metaverse before, didn't really work. It was blockchain before. So it's just like the new tech. So it's just the tech industry, and it's built on top of data center and hardware and all of that. So the industry by itself, the same player. And you find Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta. So they are the same, and it's the same industry. You don't give right to a new industry. Then you have the startup. So again, startups, they were apps before, digital, software, SaaS. So there's just like the new version and the new iteration of the startup. So it doesn't really create a new industry. It's just those industries are like making a left turn and going into that direction. And actually the crypto industry is going down because of that, because money is going there, VC are putting money out there. What is going to be extremely interesting is to look at non-tech company that are starting in this new AI era. Because we are trying to help existing company migrate to AI, what we call AI transformation. And it's extremely difficult for them to change the way of working. So it's more like you bring AI into an organization that has its own rituals, its own processes. And we're trying to help them transform. But what I'm really, really looking forward are the companies that are created now with 2 or 3 co-founders who start from day one using AI in their daily work. What is going to be the organization of these companies? And again, not the tech company, because tech are doing tech. So the non-tech company started today. So for example, a sourcing company or a quality control company that is going to start tomorrow. 2, 3 co-founders are coming. They have AI on their laptop. They're going to use AI 50 times per day. Are they going to hire people slower? What type of people are they going? And what will be the organization of this company? And 2 or 3 years later, there's going to be research. Harvard Business Review are going to look at those post-AI company and how they are organized, how much profit per employee are they going. Did it really change the paradigm of whatever industry. This is going to be extremely important. But we need for them to start,
Yes.
for them to succeed, and they need to stabilize their organization, go above like the 1 million or 10 million revenue mark. What do they look like? And I don't have the answer. And I have some guesses, but I don't have the answer to this question. For me, this is the really interesting one that I'm looking forward to see in the next two or 3 years.
So, given this information, what are the skills that will be more valued? So we already spoke about we need to be curious, active, being ready to implement. I also think about flexibility, maybe, because all these companies that have been already on the market for many years, their leaders have to be quick thinkers and quick executors in terms of this AI era, right?
So yes, the agility. We already talked about critical thinking. Be willing to try new things. So the really understand the risk. What is a risk and what is not the risk? There's no risk into sending a prompt and seeing the result. Yeah, we see that in training. Sometimes people, they want to write the perfect prompt. They don't want to press enter. So I don't press enter on their keyboard because that would be rude, but I kind of gently push them like, okay, see. It's like, is this good? I don't know. And which is the honest answer. We don't know what the AI is going to reply. The only way you know is press the enter key and then read the reply. So that notion of risk and not being afraid of the technology, it's not going to take over. If you don't press enter, nothing happens. The AI just sits there and nothing happens. So there's a lot of that in the first few steps of the training. Get people to see that it's not going to bite you, it's fine, and then if it's wrong, then it's wrong, and then you go to the next one, you make it better. So that's that mindset of like test and trials is really the one that people need to understand, because coming from classical IT, from ERP, if you put your transaction in the ERP, it's wrong and it goes into the accounting. That's a big thing. But with AI, no, because again, you're not going to send that to your customer directly or to your supplier. You will be the one to take that and decide is it good enough or not. So that means the risk level is extremely low. So they have to lower their anxiety towards AI, forget about Terminator and all these icons from Hollywood, and just do it and just try and see what's happening.
Right. I like how we speak about actual practical use in every aspect of the industries connected. Let's speak about how AI can be implemented in terms of brand and personalization. Okay.
So the good thing is I'm doing a lot of that because I'm really bad at it. Cool. So I do a lot of exploration of the branding, and I do it as a neophyte, and I'm writing a lot. I've written already a few articles about that to improve my own brand. So it's kind of an open window, redesigning our own brands, our own identity. Recently, I even designed some mascots, so B2B mascots for our company. So I want to publish a lot of that because I come at it from complete ignorance and trying to figure it out and see how much AI can help me on a topic that I don't know. And I've done a lot, and I'm impressed by what AI can do for that. The one thing that is extremely important and a lot of companies don't do is to have all the brand elements. It's to really write down, and of course AI can do that. So one of the articles that I wrote, I think, a few months ago that is on our blog, was to figure out what are those brand elements. So what is our core values we had, but mission, brand messages, brand identity, brand voice, key differentiator. You need to have all of that. Once you have all those elements written and well crafted, that becomes an extremely important asset for everything that needs to be on brand. So that starts from every single blog post that are generated. They are generated from all these brand elements, and they are saved, and that becomes extremely efficient because I save them in my prompts. I don't need to repeat them every time. They are there on our AI platform. So every single thing that are written are on brand and are using that. Then we go to visual, same thing. Like if we create a visual, we can ask, so the third generation AI, they have a vision model, like, is this on brand, yes or no? Then they can reply. How can we improve this? So I did that with our mascots. The AI told me that they were completely wrong. They broke all the values of B2B mascots. They're missing relatability. I got 40 defects on my mascots. So now I'm starting a new series of blog posts, how to make it better. So using imaging tools and how to improve them visually. And then I'm going to submit them again to the AI validation. Is this on brand or not? And that's, I think, we're getting to an amount of information that is extremely difficult to keep in a human brain at the same time, but for the AI is no problem. You know, from visual identity to text to brand values, in a single prompt, it's not an issue for the AI. So but the thing that a lot of companies, they want to get to the end result before they do all of that, before they establish a really nice brand book. But again, with AI, that can be done in a matter of hours.
Yes, as I understand, there is a lot of data that has to be prepared before you
Not
use
so many
it.
actually. It's like a page.
Okay.
It's like one page of a Word document. Actually, if it's too long, you can ask the AI to summarize it and what is really the essence and what is really the important and really the keyword. You know, I did another one, try to create a new brand. So from that, which is kind of like extremely difficult. I mean, people in branding will tell you create a new brand name. It's extremely expensive, takes a lot of time. So I also published a few articles in our blog posts to design that. The only one that I left out is the one that we want to register and the one we want to go with, because I don't want this to be out. And I regularly, and this is kind of my acid test for a new model, for the junior generation model. Are they able to create a new brand name? Because it's very human, very creative. There are a lot of aspects of language, of brand elements that you need to put inside. For me, this is kind of the most difficult thing to do. The third generation can't do it really well, but again, you can get 100 names, and then you're going to choose the one that you want somewhere in the middle.
Let's imagine we already established our brand. AI helped us to gather all the information and our brand is visible. We have our customers. How then we can use AI to make it more personalized, yet respecting consumer privacy?
Yeah. So every time you communicate with customers, you have to bring what you know about them. So the information you already have into the company, so that you have into your CRM, and then the context of the discussion. So for example, if you're replying to a string of email, all these emails, that's part of the context, because you don't want to miss something that was said like 5 emails down there. If you bring this together, so your brand elements that you have somewhere, the whole context of the discussion and the knowledge of the customer, that's it. It's going to be we call it hyper personalization. It's going to be hyper personalized. This email, this answer, or this confirmation, or this proposal, this letter, is going to be different from the other customer 5 minutes before or the other customer 5 minutes after. So it's more how you package that context of the discussion. And again, it's when you get to a level of information that doesn't fit in a human brain, that's where the AI becomes extremely powerful. You know? And the only thing you need to put in there is what's the purpose.
Yes.
You want to say yes, you want to say no, you want to negotiate, you want to thank, you want to appreciate. This is what the AI cannot guess. What's the purpose there? Yeah. And of course, validation at the end. Yeah. So we teach that in one of our courses, that is AI for e-commerce, so it's a specialized course.
Okay.
And the second half is about hyper-personalization of customer discussion, where you define the persona, you define the products, you define their pain points, and once you have all these elements in text, you give it to the AI, and you get extremely well-crafted communication this way.
How we make sure we don't overuse the data, consumer information?
I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's. Again, what is your purpose? What do you want to achieve? If you know that the customer will appreciate the communication, and at the end of the day, they get a better answer, and you didn't forget something they asked you to do, like again 5 emails down the road 2 weeks ago. then it's beneficial for you, both for you and the customer. I was talking to a company who was doing traveling plans, so tailor-made travel plans, and they told us it's very, very common that they forget something that the customer asked them at the beginning of the initial request. So they said, like, if we can capture all those emails and make sure everything that is important is captured and nothing is forgotten, it's good for them, it's good for the customer. So for me, it's not to overuse, it's exactly the right amount. And the customer already sent you the email, so you already have the information. You're not stealing information, you're not asking for more.
Right,
you're just
right.
using everything that is available. That, again, most humans, after 10 emails that are exchanged, you forgot things. The best salesperson, the best project manager, they will forget things.
I think this question for me came from thinking of how ethically we can use AI.
Yeah.
In the
You have to use it on information that you have, that you've acquired legally with consent from your customer. So as long as there was consent, and so that's, I would say, first, in compliance, you have consent, you're good. Now, if you're talking about ethics, if it's to give better service, then that's ethical. If it's to trick customer into buying something that they don't need, then it's not ethical. But with or without AI, that's already the same barrier for human salespeople trying to sell something to a customer that they don't need. So the ethics, again, the ethics doesn't come from the AI, it comes from the human who uses the AI. Are you using it ethically, or you're using it non-ethically? AI doesn't make a difference. It makes it faster. And as at the very beginning, I told you, bad actors can use AI, and we can't prevent them. They can use a cell phone, they can use microphone, they can use computer, they can use all the technology that are applicable and that are available today.
Let's speak about how companies can leverage AI to negotiate better supply contract.
So it's a use case that is part of our training. The idea is to give enough information on the initial conditions. So what is the current price and what are the current conditions. And the way we tell sourcing companies, sourcing office buyers, is to design negotiation strategies. So what are the angles that can be applied to get better terms, and what can you offer in exchange? And again, as I explained earlier, at that point, quantity will lead to qualities, because the AI can come out with 15, 20 different strategies. And then the human choose, like, this one makes sense for me, this one makes sense for me, I'm willing to give that against that. And again, that quantity will give them more ideas than they could think about. As long as there is enough context and you've broken it down into different parts, into material price, sourcing, transportation, and manufacturing, you need to have that level of components. If you just give it a price, it's like discount. So you have to break it down and give enough context into the industry and the various components of the price and of the cost, and you can get extremely good negotiation techniques and offers that you can have and put in front of your supplier.
Right, I'm excited actually to see how it will be reshaping and used.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Stéphane, for joining us today.
Thank you, Xenia.
I am sure that our audience will walk away with tangible takeaways, and as this topic is continuing to evolve, I'm sure that we will catch up very soon on.
Be happy to.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.